Ms. Dickerson?
Here.
Mr. Frizzell?
Here.
Mr. Brad Harris?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Ms. Cochran?
Here.
Dr. McMorris?
Here.
Mr. Link?
Here.
Mr. Cecil Harris?
Here. Mr. Purvis, there's one public comment.
Public comment on item 6.
Okay. All right, number 2, approval of the minutes of the school board meeting held on January 19, 2023. I have a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Bradley Harris makes a motion and Dr. McMorris seconds it. In discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
All opposed, no. There is none, so it passes. Number 3, recognition of school board members by the Louisiana School Board Association. Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. We would like to spend just a moment this afternoon recognizing our school board members who qualify under the training guidelines for some awards and certificates. This year, we have 3 school board members who qualified as distinguished school board employee members, and they do that by, in their first year of service, they have to earn 16 hours of training, and then every year of their service past, they have to add 6 years, and that would be from 2019 to 2020, 2021, and 2022. And we have 3 members that we would like to recognize this evening. One of them, unfortunately, is not with us this evening, but we'll make sure that he gets his certificate. At this time, could I please have Mr. Bradley Harris and Dr. Devin Gregoire come to the podium, please. Mr. Harris, Dr. Gregoire, we'd like to present you with these certificates from the Louisiana School Board Association in appreciation of the service to that association and appreciation to the service of this board. Thank you for putting in the time, the effort, and it really does, folks, take some time to get all this training done. So this evening, we are presenting Dr. Devin Gregoire with a Distinguished School Board Member designation, and also Mr. Bradley Harris, and we also have a Distinguished School Board designation for Mr. Brad Sharp, so that we'll make sure that we get him. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your service. I'll let you say something if you want to say something. Otherwise, we just take some pictures. If that's okay with y'all. And certainly, Dr. Gregoire, if you want to bring your family in, that's fine. Dr. Gregoire, could you remain for just a minute, please, sir? Dr. Gregoire, we would also like to present you with an additional certificate this evening. But for the 2022 school year, Dr. Gregoire became a certified school board member. What is a certified school board member? That is any school board member who voluntarily completes 20 or more hours during LSBA approved training during a calendar year. Dr. Gregoire, I don't remember, I think you had 36 hours, is that correct, sir? Something like that, yes. I believe he earned 36 hours during 22, the fiscal year of 22. So this evening, we'd also like to present Dr. Gregoire with a certified board member certificate from Louisiana School Boards Association. And Dr. Gregoire, this is also just your certificate for your training. Your normal training. Okay?
I would like to thank my wife and 2 lovely daughters for being here tonight.
Thank y'all so much.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that.
Job well done. Okay, number 4, discussion action on entering into a cooperative endeavor agreement between Livingston Parish School Board and the town of Livingston. I'm gonna read this to you guys. And board members, this is a corporate endeavor agreement between this board and the town of Livingston. This agreement has previously been sent to you for your review, and this agreement is effective as of February the 2nd, 23, and will remain in effect on 2/2/43. Entering into this agreement provides protection for both parties and allows Livingston Parish Public Schools and the town of Livingston to share athletic facilities, strengths, and bond between the community and our schools while providing our student athletes with facilities for athletic competition. Do I have a motion and a second to?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Cox makes the motion and Mr. Frizzell second. Any discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. There is none, so the motion carries. Number 5, approval for Freshwater Elementary to make credit card changes with First Guarantee Bank. Ms. Stewart.
Yes, sir. This is just, we need approval from the board for the removal of the old principal and the approval for the new principal, Ms. Cheney. And we want to keep the credit limit to $5,000 for the credit card.
On motion second. Mr. Bradley makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Link second. Any discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
All opposed, no. There is none, so the motion carries. Okay, number 6, and I think we have a public comment on this one.
Abby Crosby, I'm from Livingston. This is for the athletic task force that you're supposed to be putting together. I know Dr. Ron very well, he's a friend of mine. I have a couple of questions. The monies that y'all were talking about, it's like $75,000, and that includes the benefits and everything that goes along with the salary. Where is that money going to come from?
So 75 is a starting point number to start a discussion,
Yes.
and we don't know. That's why we put together a task force. The other night was a discussion to start talking about this subject that has not been talked about continuously,
Correct.
and to make sure this subject doesn't stop being talked about. So, no idea, but was that?
Go ahead, I was just going to make a comment.
No idea yet, but that's why we started the discussion, so we can figure out from the seasoned veterans and from our financial wizards, hey, where can we get it from? What can we do?
With
So,
9 of them, it's like $675,000, starting off at $75,000.
Let me make this comment. We may not be able to do this. We're
Correct.
just doing it in discussion.
That's what I was
right-
asking.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
just doing this a discussion right now to see if, because we've had some issues in the parish, in Denham High School, for example, where it was handled very well and we had trainers on
I
staff.
knew the family.
So it's just a discussion right now, and it could take a while before this could take
Yeah.
place.
yeah, so that's a starting number, include benefits, but again, just the start of a discussion, and that was only one of the 3 or 4 suggestions that I made. So
Yeah, I was
we'll
just wanting
continue to talk about it and just grow from there.
Nothing's going to happen for a while.
Okay, all right, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
He needs to read it. Dr. McMorris needs to read the minutes.
Well, yeah, but I need to read mine too, don't I? Okay, this is discussion action on report for athletic staff committee held on Monday, January 30th, 2023. Mr. McMorris, or Dr. McMorris, I'm sorry.
What do I need to do?
You read your minutes.
Let me find them. All right, meeting minutes. Athletic staff committee meeting was Monday, January 30th, 2023. Voting members present were Ms. Kelly Dickinson, Mr. Cecil Harris, and myself. Non-voting members, Mr. Frizzell, Mr. Cox, Ms. Cockerham, Mr. Link, Mr. Murphy, Mr. Purvis, Mr. Chapin. Absent members, Mr. Sharp, Mr. Harris. Meeting was called to order by myself. We had discussion on concerning athletic trainers. Members of the committee received a copy of some thoughts that I put together just to begin the discussion, and we heard from several coaches and athletic trainers in the audience. After the presentation discussion, it was decided to form a committee to check on this and further report back. No action was required by the committee. committee will present the report to the full board. And we were adjourned by Ms. Kelly Dixon and a second by Mr. Harris.
Did we have the names of the people in the committee,
The task force,
task force?
it hasn't been put together yet.
Hadn't been put together yet.
No further discussion on that has been made.
So we have no vote or anything. This has just been a discussion.
That's cool.
Okay.
Do we need to vote to accept the report, Mark?
You can. It's not, yes, you can.
We need to vote to accept the report.
Accept the report of the,
All right.
you don't need a second.
All right. All in favor, yes, to accept the
Yes.
report?
Yes.
All opposed, no. There's none. All right. Number 7, discussion action on report of the Budget Goals Committee held on Monday, January 30th. Mr. Cox.
Budget and Goals Committee met of the Livingston Parish School Board will be held at the School Board Office, 13909 Florida Boulevard, on January 30th, 2023, immediately following athletic staff. Attendees, voting members, Mr. Frizell, Mr. Harris, myself, Mr. Link. Non-voting members, Ms. Dickerson, Ms. Cockerham, Dr. McMorris, Superintendent Murphy, Assistant Superintendent Jody Purvis, Superintendent Bruce Chapin. Absent members, Mr. Brad Sharp and Mr. Bradley Harris. I call the meeting to order. Discussion and action on report on the independent audit of general purpose financial statements for the Livingston Parish School Board for the year ended June the 30th, 2022. Members of the committee and the board received a copy of the report on the audit by basic financial statement, June the 30th, 2022, and the independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting and on the compliance and other matters, based on an audit of the financial statements performed in accordance with the government auditing standards. Trey Sanders of Hannity Bourgeois, LLC, presented a brief summary of the reports and answered questions posed by those present. Following the discussion, a motion was offered to accept the report on independent audit of general purpose financial statement for the Livingston Parish School Board for the year ended June the 30th, 2022. Motion was made by Ms. Cecil Harris, seconded by Mr. Stephen Link. It was unanimous. Full board for approval. The motion carried to present the full board for approval. Adjourn. The motion was made to adjourn the meeting. Motion was made by Mr. Cecil Harris, seconded by Mr. Frizell. Unanimously approved. There being no further business, the meeting adjourned. It's at 5:27 p.m.
Any in discussion? Anybody wants to ask Mr. Trey any questions?
Mr. Trey, how long has Hannah's Bourgeois been conducting our audits for us each year?
How long has Hannah's,
You and Hannah's Bourgeois.
me personally, been doing it for about 8 years. Hannah's Bourgeois has been doing it since probably in the 80s or 90s, early 90s.
Since the early 90s for our school
For
board?
the school board, yes.
What do we pay y'all for the audit? How much does the audit cost us?
The audit is, I think we're at about 72,000, 74,000. We had some additional costs this year because we had to implement the GASB 87. We also had an additional federal program that we audited. So I think there was an additional cost of about, I don't remember the specific amount right now. But the basic audit normally runs around $74,000. And then we also do the statewide agreed upon procedures as additional fees for that.
And when we discussed the part about the funds that we're missing, are y'all part of that active investigation?
When you discuss the part about the funds that we're missing, you're talking about with the EFT issue, the electronic funds transfer?
Right.
We came in, the school board told us about it when at some point after it happened. We also got notification from the legislative auditor's office that it happened. We just came in and we documented what happened and we reported on it in our report because we're required to report on it. We're not active in the investigation, if that's your question.
And the board members at some of the other school districts that y'all represent said y'all always offer ways that we can improve and do better. Did you offer suggestions on different things we can do specifically
On the,
in
on like on
Livingston?
the on the EFT, yeah, we did do some recommendations on the EFT, and we also did recommendations on the other issue on the ethics finding that we had, or potential ethics finding. We offered some just suggestions on that, and that's really just on the ethics finding is just to go to the ethics board to get a ruling on it. On the EFT issue, as I mentioned during the meeting, the legislative auditor's office actually issued a best practice on it, and that would be to and I think y'all have some procedures already in place, but to put a change authorization form in place for the vendors when a vendor calls in and requests that. I think, again, you've already have some of this in place, but it's to strengthen it. I think there was another level whereby a person would, actually have to have the approval. You go back to an old invoice, call the people up and verify that they're changing their EFT information. So we did recommend those steps. And y'all responded, the board, the management responded to steps that they were planning to do and would take our recommendation.
And it was stated that Falk and Winkler, I think is the name, they conduct the outside audits just for the school audits. That's right, Ms. Stewart? So y'all don't do schools, you just do central office?
Well, when we do the audit, we do look at some of the transactions because we do audit the whole school system, including the school activity funds. We do test some of those transactions. We do test some of those.
After the other audit by the other company?
No, we kind of do that in addition to what they're doing.
Okay.
Because
And
we cannot rely on their work. It's just our standards don't allow us to rely on their work, so we have to do some of our own work on it.
that's kind of a requirement
Yeah.
by the state legislative auditor. And do you ever suggest that we get an outside audit? I know y'all are an independent audit, but someone else from outside the parish?
I'm not sure that I fully understand that question. We do the audit of your financial statements.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole purpose of that is, that's why I explained a good deal on it, but we're here to do an audit of your financial statements. As part of that audit, we do look at your internal controls. We also look at compliance and stuff like that. There are requirements according to government auditing standards we have to do. We issue an opinion on your financial statements, and that's what we're here to do. If things come to our attention during our audit process, we're required to bring it to you all and let y'all know about it. As far as recommend or suggest doing another outside audit, I don't know what you're looking for there.
I was just curious because we have a big tax coming up, and just to make taxpayers rest assured that we catch everything, you don't suggest we ever do an outside one?
I'm not 100% sure. We're doing an independent audit of your financial statements. If you're looking for some kind of special services from another third party, that's up to you all. I don't.
I was just asking for checks and balances.
Yeah, we come in and we look again at for your financial statements, the numbers that you're looking at in your financial statements. We issue an opinion that those numbers are fairly stated in all material respects. And I didn't say that coming up here at first, but during the committee meeting, y'all did receive unmodified or clean opinion on your financial statements. So the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. So we believe they're in good shape. And then again, in that process, we're verifying those numbers behind those financial statements. So we don't look at every transaction. You physically can't. We do samples. We do look at a lot of transactions. And we also do analytical procedures and stuff to come to that conclusion.
And how many of you come in to do this?
Usually we have, the audit team itself ranges from 5 to 6 people.
And how long does it take?
We start, the whole process starts, we start planning for it in June and July. And we come out in probably the end of July, and we spend a couple of weeks here doing what we call test work, interim test work. We will look at, we can't really test the balances yet because it takes about 2.5 months to close the year. We spend a couple of weeks then. We may come back if we're not able to finish that test work, because sometimes we're not able to do all of it. We may come out for a couple of days in between the end of August or beginning of August to the end of September, October. We come back out at the end of September, We spend about 4 to 5 weeks out here, usually almost to November. And then we go back to our office for about several weeks there, kind of closing everything up. You have in your office during that time period, you'll have anywhere from 5 to 6 people. I'll come out just a little bit. I'm not out here full time. I have a manager that oversees it. Then we have like a supervisor, and we have a couple of staff that come in. And a staff level experience ranges anywhere from about 5 years of experience, 4 years experience to some fairly new people, about a year or less experience. And our staff, some of our staff live here in the parish, maybe 1 or 2. You got a couple of staff that come out this year was from East Baton Rouge. You got a couple from Tangipahoa. So every year, we unfortunately, not through Kim's fault or our fault, we have new staff people to come out each year. So you get some new eyes out here just about every year. Maybe 1, 2, maybe more than that sometimes. It just depends. And I did do a little recap of the audit process, and I think I provided you all a copy of it. And that, I kind of did a synopsis just now, but that's kind of what happens. And then once we finish with the audit, we'll sit down and we'll, as we're preparing the financial statements and stuff, we'll communicate with Kim, and just let her know. And throughout the audit process, if these things do come to our attention, we talk to them about if there's any issues coming up. We prepare the reports, we give them to her. She prepares what they call the MD&A. She sends it back to us. She also looks at the financial statements and says, hey, Trey, want to make sure this is right or whatever. And then we do our in-house quality control review and all that kind of stuff.
And what rating do you give us for the school board? Is there like a rating for?
There's really, you can have, as far as the opinion on the financial statements, you can have adverse or disclaimer of opinion. An adverse is if there's something wrong with your financial statements. And really, there's just we call it an unmodified opinion or clean opinion. Can't really say a 10 or something like that, but it's the best opinion you can get. It's a good, clean opinion.
I guess that would be equal to like a 5-star.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to look at it, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I'm just curious, out of the other firms in the region, how do you compare in size? Can you tell me?
Yeah, we're a Hennessy Bourgeois is up. We've got 4 locations. We're about 150 plus employees. It just depends. CPA firms can range from a sole practitioner to an individual, just a single person. There's some kind of, in our area, some local firms can range anywhere from 10 to 15 people up to 30 to 50 people. Then once you get a little above us, you can go up to 300-400 people. It's a really large firm. And then you can get to the national firms and larger regional firms. So,
Talking about in our region here, how do you compare to the others? First, second, third, what?
as far as local large firms, we're the second largest local firm around.
Any more questions? We need a motion second to accept this report. Mr. Cox makes a motion and Ms. Cockerham seconds it. Any more discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
All opposed, no? There is none, so the motion carries.
All right. Thank y'all. We appreciate y'all's help and everything with Kim and them throughout the audit process. It is a long and tedious process. Like I said, we start somewhere around in July and we finish up in the middle of December. And we appreciate everything. We know we interrupt them and cause a lot of kind of chaos at times, asking a lot of questions and asking for documents. We appreciate all the help, though. And thank y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, number 8, approval of the monthly financial report, payments of invoices. Motion, second. Mr. Frizzell makes a motion and Mr. Cox seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
All opposed, no? There is none, so the motion carries. Number 9, superintendent's comments, Mr. Murphy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Harris. I'll try to keep this very short. I did want to remind the board and the public that we will be going into our public meetings regarding the March 25th ballot item that we have, February 7th, which is this coming Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. We'll be at Denham Springs High School, and then on the same evening at 7 p.m. we'll be at the Live Oak High cafeteria. The public is invited to those meetings. These meetings are posted on our social media, and you can get more information at livingston1cent.com. Or if you have a question, you can email that question to livingston@lpsb.org. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you. Number 10, personal appearance and request by Barry Fortenberry, patron of Denham Springs High School. Mr. Spencer.
We would need a motion for
You
executive
need an
session.
executive
Yeah,
session.
we're gonna have to go into executive session on this, and so we're gonna have to ask everyone to please clear the.
Need a motion in a second.
And, we're gonna need a motion in a second. Mr. Cox makes a motion, and Mr. Frizzell seconds.
Vote.
All in favor, yes?
Yes.
All opposed, no. There is none.